Welcome to the Success School Podcast with Uyi Abraham. He has been educating people on business and success principles for over 2 decades. He came to America with only $100 in a suitcase of clothes, to now generating 7 figures in various business ventures, including Vanja.com. His days include helping others to start and scale their businesses and creating economic freedom for families all over the world. Now it's your turn to go from where you are to where you're meant to be with your host, Dr. Uyi Abraham.
Hey everybody, welcome to my very first podcast, the Success School Podcast with Uyi Abraham. I'm so excited that you are sharing these few minutes with me today, and I hope this will not be your last time. Maybe you're watching this on YouTube or you listen to the audio podcast. I want to especially welcome you to the Success School Podcast. And it's going to be such an amazing time together. And we're going to have a great things we're going to be talking about. So the Success School Podcast, there are 3 things I'm going to be focusing on. One is going to be business success, then it's going to be life success and marriage success. And I think this is the 3 major areas that every one of us need to be successful at. So I'm going to be teaching you, showing you, and also bringing so many wonderful guests that is going to help us to be more successful in this area. So on this very first podcast, I'm going to be talking about my $100 story. Some of you might not have known me. Maybe this is your first time of listening to my podcast or watching me on YouTube. I want to just introduce myself to you. But hey, before I do that, I want to remind you to subscribe, like, and share this video so that you can help me and join me to help as many people as possible to become successful in their lives. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my $100 story. How I went from $100 to 7 figures. Okay, and I did it in a couple of years, and I'm going to be as transparent as I can because that's what I love. I love transparency because I believe that when you're transparent, you get to reveal so many tips and tools that is going to help somebody to become successful in their business, their life, or their marriage. Okay, so like you can tell from my accent, I was born and raised in Nigeria, and I came to America a few years ago as an immigrant, and I came to America with only $100 to my name and a suitcase of clothes. I didn't have no money, I didn't have no connections or anything. I just had a big dream that I was going to do something really great with my life. And not only that, but I've always had a dream as a child to be very successful so I can help other people to be successful. What gives me a thrill and a joy and excitement is when I see my life being instrumental in helping people to be successful. So my dream before I came to America was to be a medical doctor and to be a gynecologist because I wanted to help women to have better health and to live well in life. So I started my journey back there in Africa, in Nigeria. I did my sciences. I got approved into medical school. Then I came over to America before I could really, get halfway in the medical school, right? So I came over to America. I was in Houston, Texas at the time. And I started taking some science classes to continue my journey, my educational journey to be a medical doctor, right? Then somewhere along the line, I kind of lost track of that passion for medicine. The thought and idea of being a medical doctor was not as enticing to me like it used to be. And so I just kind of didn't feel that I wanted to be a doctor anymore. So I dropped out of school. Okay, so that might be something you already know about me. So I was a college dropout. So coming to America with a dream to be a medical doctor, to dropping out from school. Of course, I got my mom mad. I got my dad mad. I got some people mad, because I've always been smart and intelligent, and people were wondering why I dropped out of school. And I also, became a pastor. I was pursuing ministry, and I wanted to just pastor people, pursue ministry, and then I would just help people to be successful like that, But somewhere along the line, I started feeling a drive for business. I started feeling like, my calling was not just only to be a pastor or an apostle, a prophet, but also to be a businessman, an entrepreneur, right? So I went back to school and I got my degree in marketing. I got my degree in business marketing. And then after a while, I got my doctorate, okay? Not in medicine, but doctorate in ministry and divinity, okay? So I'm Dr. Uyi Abraham. So I'm still a doctor, even though not a medical doctor, right? So that was my story coming to America. So I came with $100 and a suitcase of clothes, and that is all I had to my name. So then, when you come in as an immigrant, there's not a lot of job opportunities. There's not a lot of opportunities for you to make money. So my very first job was, I was a ticket man at a movie theater. And it was called Lewis Theater in Stafford, Texas. I think it's Stafford. Yeah, Stafford. Lewis Theater in Stafford, Texas. So that was my very first job. And listen now, my very first job, I was being paid $6.25 an hour. Okay, so my very first job, I was a movie theater attendant. So when people come to the movie, I double check that they have the right ticket to the movie. I tear the ticket, I give them a copy, I keep a copy, right? Then after between each movie, I and the other crew, we go and sweep out the theater, make sure it's clean, make sure there's nothing. People didn't forget anything, so that was my job, and I was happy doing it, man. But it was a difficult job because I had to stand for 6 to 8 hours. There was no sitting down whatsoever. I got to stand, I got to, smile, I got to sweep and clean the movie theater. Then, of course, sometimes too, they send me to the kitchen to wash the plates and all of other stuff, So imagine me, coming to America with a dream to be a medical doctor. But now, dropped out from school and I found myself washing dishes and washing the plates in the movie theater and cutting tickets and stuff. But hey, I did what I got to do to survive, Then after a while, I quit the job because it was not paying me enough. I was living with my dad at the time. I needed to get my own place, but $6.25 was not going to be enough. So I started applying for other jobs. Then my next job was customer service. So I got a job for $8 an hour, being a customer service rep, and I did that for a while. Then I think I got fired. That was the very first time I was fired at a job, and I was not very happy about it. Now, if any of you have been fired at a job, it's never a good feeling to be fired at a job and to be escorted out of the building by security. So they said I was not meeting my performance goals, and so I was fired like about 3 months into the job, and fired from the job, escorted out of the building with security. Feeling sad, feeling embarrassed that they would treat me like that. But hey, that's what jobs do, So I was jobless. Then I became homeless, okay? I became homeless. I lost my place. So I started sleeping in my car. And it wasn't a nice car. It was a Joe Metro. A Joe Metro is a very small car. Those of you watching on YouTube, I'm going to put a picture of the Joe Metro right now. It was a very, very small car. I think it was a 2-door. And it's like Joe Metro is so small, right? But I stayed in my car for about a week or two before I was able to, find my feet back to share an apartment with a friend of mine. So I found a friend of mine that were able to share an apartment together. And so I started just doing all kind of different jobs, just trying to find my way. So my breakthrough in business happened when a friend of mine, it was, I think, in 2004, then I moved from Houston, Texas to Dallas, Texas, right? Then a friend of mine, it was my birthday, and so it was like, oh, well, your birthday is coming up. I want to give you a gift, but I know you're in ministry, you're a pastor of a church. I think your church needs a website. This is 2004. So in 2004, there were not a lot of websites on the internet. So he said, I think your church is going to need a website. So I'm going to give you a gift for your birthday. I said, what's the gift? So he gave me a website template. Now, so he gave me a template, and it didn't have the patience to really teach me how to use it. It's okay, here's the template, figure it out, build a website for your church, and that is my gift for you for your birthday. I said, okay. So I took the website, it took me about a week or two. I figured it out. I figured out how to get hosting for the website, Then from there, I built a website for our church. I liked it. And that was my first light bulb moment when it comes to business here in America. So I was like, wow, that is so exciting. So imagine if I could build a website for myself. So imagine if I can find all the people that need a website built also. My highest goal in life was to make just $4,000 a month. That was my highest goal. So I was like, man, I'll be so rich. I'll be so wealthy if I can just make $4,000 a month. So how do I make $4,000 a month? At that time, I was barely making $2,000 a month. My apartment, I moved to Dallas. I was able to rent an apartment myself. I was speaking, I was preaching, I was traveling, I was doing every kind of stuff to survive. I quit my job. Oh, I got to take you guys back a little bit before. That was Dallas. Yeah. Let me see which way I should start from now, because I got to tell you how I quit my job, my last job. So my last job, I became a school bus driver, and I was making about $14.26 an hour as a school bus driver. Either 26 or 20, but $14 and some change an hour as a school bus driver. I didn't really like the job. The kids were really driving me crazy, driving me insane. I didn't really like it at all. So I decided that I was going to quit the job. So I quit my job as a school bus driver. And I said, okay, now I'm just going to do business full time. So my rent was $400 a month. I was barely able to afford it. So I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a way to use my knowledge of being able to build websites and turn it into a business. So I said, okay, now if I can get 10 clients a month to pay me $400, that will be $4,000. So with $4,000 a month, I'll be so wealthy. That was my biggest hopes and dreams and aspirations at that time. So that is how I started business, being a web designer. And then I started learning photography. I started learning video editing, because I found out that, it was not wise to just settle on just one business skill alone by itself. So it was good that I also do some other businesses as well. So I was doing website design, I was doing photography professionally. Then I learned videography, and all this was self-taught. I had nobody to teach me any of these things. It was self-taught, and using YouTube and Google at the time, I just taught myself how to do that. So that was my start in business. So over time, I've done so many businesses. Now, this is going to shock you too. This is another fact about me that you might not have known. I have failed in over 13 businesses in my life. Okay, let me see if I can remember some. I used to have a car dealership and I shut it down. I used to have a restaurant and I shut it down. I used to have a print center, where you can print like a FedEx, Kinko's, like a Kinko's competitor. I shut it down. I used to have an online boutique where you sell clothes. I shut it down. So there's so many businesses I've done over time, but I never stopped. I just kept trying different businesses, trying different things, learning and developing myself to see if I can find that thing that would really work for me and set me apart. Okay, so that's how I got started in business to now, from $100 coming to America in 2002 to now making over 7 figures a year. And I have at this time of recording, over 48 people on my staff. I have staff here in America. I have staff in Pakistan. I have staff in Nigeria. I have staff in India. And I have staff in Costa Rica. So I have my engineering team, developers, social media team, they are overseas. But I have a staff here too in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm now in Atlanta, Georgia. And in the next year, My goal is to grow our team from 48 to at least 150 people, okay? Because we're going to grow so fast in Vanja. So Vanja is my newest business venture, and I'm the first black person to start a SaaS, which means software as a service, SaaS, knowledge, commerce, and business. Many of the competitors out there that creates opportunity for you to sell online courses, develop your website, landing pages, funnels, and the type of stuff we do in Vanja. They're all white people, and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, we have a lot of white customers here at Vanja, but I think it's just so awesome that I've been a trailblazer. I've always tried to create new things. I've always not been content with the status quo. I always like to do things that have never been done before. So I'm very, very proud of myself to be the very first founder and CEO of a black-owned SaaS company in the knowledge commerce industry, where you can create online courses, landing pages, e-commerce store, email marketing, funnels, all the tools you need, everything you need to run a successful online business. Vanja helps you to do that. So if you've never checked out Vanja, which is also a sponsor of this show, so go to vanja.com. So let me give you 3 tips before I go today on my very first podcast. Don't worry, I'm going to do better. I kind of got a little nervous. This was like the 4th take. The first 2-3 takes, I didn't like it because I wasn't comfortable enough. So I'm sure I'm going to get better. So I need your feedback, okay? Let me know if I did good enough on this very first podcast, the Success School podcast. Okay, so let me give you 3 tips that is going to help you to be successful. Okay, number 1, you got to stay hungry. Okay, you got to stay hungry. It's only the hungry that get fed. You got to stay hungry. Even though my first job was $6.25, I never stayed in the status quo. I was hungry. I wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted more. And I kept just pursuing and, making myself ready for this next opportunity. And like I said, I failed in over 13 businesses until I made my first 7 figures, right? So don't stop just because things are tough, or because you made some mistakes, or because you failed. Don't stop, okay? Keep pushing, keep pursuing, keep trying to do great things with your life, okay? And you're gonna get there. So number 1, if you want to build success, number 1, you got to stay hungry. Number 2, personal development. Oh my God, I read books. I've read over 1,000 books. Let me say it again. I've read over 1,000 books, over 1,000 books on everything from mindset change, millionaire thinking, public speaking, how to start a business, how to grow a business. I've read over 1,000 books. I've spent over 6 figures in the last few years developing myself on how to be a better leader, how to create stuff, how to build stuff, how to be better in my game, right? So I've always developed myself. I've always pushed myself to become better, because your personal development is tied to your financial development, right? If you don't develop yourself personally, if you don't develop yourself, you cannot create value or add value to other people. So number 2 will be personal development, okay? The number 3 is to take actions, okay? You got to take action, okay? If you're going to be successful in life, if you want to be the success that you are in life, in business, or even in your marriage, you got to take actions. Only those who take actions get to where they want to be. So I want to encourage you today to get off your couch, to get off your procrastination, to get off from thinking you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and go ahead and make something happen today. Take an action. What action are you going to take today that is going to change the rest of your life? Do you need to hire a coach? Do you need to hire a mentor? Do you need to read books? Do you need to travel, relocate? Do you need to marry? Or do you need to divorce? I mean, what action do you need to take today that will change the rest of your life? So that is my 3 tips for today that I want to share with you, that I hope is going to really bless you and help you in some way. Now, remember, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching the audio podcast, please subscribe to my channel, subscribe to this podcast, like it and share, all right? So go right now, like this podcast, share and subscribe. So I hope you got something from today. This is my $100 story to 7 figures. Of course, there's a lot of stories in between, but I can't just give you all of the stories all at once. I can give you all at once. So you got to keep coming, keep listening to this podcast so that we gonna be successful together. All right, have a great day. Be successful today. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Success School podcast with Uyi Abraham. This show is sponsored by Vanja.com. Vanja is your all-in-one platform to easily create online courses, offer products, do email marketing, build landing pages, and design a beautiful website. Vanja makes it seamless for you to run a successful online business all in one place, not all over the place. Get started today. Choose a plan or get started for free at Vanja.com. That's Vonza.com.